You are sitting with people, they are laughing, talking normally. Everything looks fine, and yet you feel something is off, not because something is wrong, but because you notice things that no one else seems to see. The way someone pauses before answering, the way their smile fades too quickly, the slight change in tone when a certain topic comes up. You do not try to notice, it just happens, and sometimes you wish it did not, because people who notice everything do not just see more, if they feel more. There is a concept in psychology called heightened awareness. It means your mind is constantly observing, analyzing, connecting patterns while others are simply living in the moment. You are watching the moment from inside and outside at the same time. It feels like living with two minds, and that experiences life, and one that studies it. You are in a conversation, but at the same time, you are analyzing your own words, their reactions, the silence between sentences. You notice when you speak too much, you notice when you speak too little, and suddenly, the conversation is no longer natural, it becomes something you are managing. This is not overthinking in the usual sense. It is deeper than that. It is like your brain refuses to switch off, like a system that keeps running even when there is nothing left to process. People around you might think you are calm, quiet, observant, but inside there is constant activity. You notice how people treat others differently. You notice fake kindness. You notice hidden tension, and the hardest part, you cannot unsee it. You notice something, it stays with you even if you try to ignore it. Imagine watching a movie, but instead of enjoying the story, you start thinking about why the scene was created, why the music is playing, why the character reacted that way. You understand everything, but you feel less. This is what happens in real life. 2 moments that should feel simple start to feel complicated. Even happiness, you can be happy and still analyze your happiness. Am I feeling this? How long will it last? Is this real? And just like that, the feeling becomes smaller. People who notice everything often become very good at understanding others. They can read emotions even when they are not spoken. They can sense discomfort even behind a smile. This makes them valuable but also tired, because every interaction feels like work. You are not just talking, you are observing, interpreting, responding carefully, and sometimes you just want a moment where you can stop thinking, but your mind does not allow that easily. There is also something else, a loneliness, because you are alone, but because you feel different. You understand people deeply, but you rarely feel understood. It feels like you are speaking a language that others do not even realize exists. You want someone who notices you the way you notice everything, but that is rare, and you know it, which makes the feeling even heavier. Most people think being aware is a strength, and it is, but they do not talk about the cost. Cost is mental exhaustion. The cost is emotional overload. The cost is never fully switching off. Many people who develop this trait did not choose it, they learned it sometimes, growing up in environments where they had to be careful, where understanding moods was necessary, where reading people was a way to stay safe. Over time it became automatic. Even when the situation changed, the mind did not. He kept scanning, kept analyzing, kept noticing, even when there was no danger. This is why people who notice everything often feel tired even when they have done nothing, because their mind has been working all along. And here is something important: just because you notice everything does not mean you are always right. Sometimes your mind creates patterns that are not really there. Sometimes you read too much into small things. Sometimes your awareness turns into assumptions, and assumptions can hurt you. This is where many people struggle. They trust their perception without questioning it, and slowly their mind becomes a place where everything feels complicated. But awareness is not the problem. Uncontrolled awareness is. Difference is important. Becky's awareness can be a gift, but only if you learn how to handle it. Otherwise it becomes a burden, and that is where most people are stuck, living in a world where they see too much, feel too much, and understand too much, but do not know how to rest their mind. There is a moment when you realize it is not the world that is loud. It is your mind constantly picking up signals, details, patterns. Even in silence, you walk into a room, and within seconds you understand the atmosphere. Who is comfortable, who is pretending, who wants to live. No one tells you these things. You just know, and at first it feels like a skill, like you have an advantage, but over time it starts to feel heavy, because knowing everything means carrying everything. You notice small changes in people, slight delay in their reply, a different tone in their voice, a shift in their energy, and your mind begins to connect dots, sometimes correctly, sometimes not, but always intensely. This is the hidden side of awareness. It does not ask for permission, it just keeps going. You might be resting, but your mind is no tie. You might be smiling, but your mind is analyzing why. You might be enjoying a moment, but your mind is already thinking about its ending. This constant awareness slowly disconnects you from the present chaos. Instead of living, you are observant. Instead of feeling, you are evaluating, and that creates a distance between you and your own life. People who notice everything often struggle with trust not because they want to, but because they see too many possibilities, too many meanings, too many layers behind simple actions. Your mind does not settle on one answer. It explores all of the man that makes certainty difficult. Over time, this becomes exhausting because your brain treats every situation like a puzzle that needs solving. Given when it does not, you begin to feel like you are always on alert. Even in safe situations, this is connected to hyper-awareness. Your brain becomes too sensitive to everything around you. But here is the truth: not everything needs to be noticed, not everything needs to be understood. The human brain is not designed to process everything all the time. It needs rest, it needs simplicity, it needs moments where things are just what they are without deeper meaning with it hidden layers. Another thing that happens is emotional fatigue. You do not just notice emotions, you absorb them. You feel tension in a room even without words. You carry emotions that are not even yours. This is why you often need solitude, not because you dislike people, but because your mind needs recovery. Even then, the mind replays conversations, analyzes the past, searches for clarity. Letting go becomes difficult because awareness keeps bringing things back. There is also a deeper fear of being misunderstood. You assume others think as deeply as you do, so when they do not, it feels heavy inside. There is constant effort to make sense of everything, and then something changes. You realize analyzing everything is not the same as understanding everything. You can see patterns and still miss the truth. This realization can free you because you begin to question your thoughts. Not every thought is a fact, not every feeling is a signal, not every pattern is real. This is where growth begins. You stop reacting to every thought and start observing it. You allow uncertainties. Your mind relaxes, not completely, but enough anew to breathe, enough to feel moments again.